Hello guys, welcome to another video for Cough Path 1 farm. In this video I'm going to explain to you the equipment and various other things that a warrior would use to do Cough Path 1 farm. So let's get into it. Alright, as a warrior, you're going to need the same gear as a Mesmer has, with power precision and critical percentage, so basically berserker gear. And obviously in this gear, as I've done, I've taken Ruby Orb instead of Ruins because they're both very cheap and they're also very effective. Actually, they're a lot more effective than any Ruins because this farm is primarily just straight out damage, so you don't really need to worry about any specific, things like conditions or so on and so forth. My weapon is also the same stats Berserker, but I chose not to go with a Ruby Orb for this weapon. I decided rather I should just go with a Sigil of Smoldering, which increases damage on Flame Legion by 10%, so that does a lot more than the Orb would. My second weapon is just it's actually really just a utility weapon. You're not really going to use it at any time whatsoever. Most people actually recommend that you use a sword and a Warhorn because of the Warhorn's speed skill. Uh, your force skill, I believe, is charge, and it allows you to increase your speed and grant swiftness and everything. But for the most part, it's not really necessary. It's just a great thing to have. And as far as accessories are concerned, my accessories are the same as my armor. They're all ruby, like Calcum Berserker stuff. Alright, so as far as traits are concerned, I went with a all-out glass cannon spec. I went 30 into strength, 30 into arms, and 10 into tactics. And with 30 arms, I was able to pick up Great Fortitude to give me power based on my vitality. I was also able to pick up Berserker's Power, which gives me damage based on how much adrenaline I have. And finally, Great Sword Spear damage will increase by 10%. Also, for arms, and then I went 30 into arms, and I picked up Rendering Strikes, which gives me vulnerability onto targets after every critical hit. And you gain might for every critical hit you do with a Great Sword Spear. It also recharges your Great Sword's skills, so you can then cast 100 blades a lot faster. And finally, Last Chance. This slot is actually whatever you would feel like putting in there, but I feel like Last Chance with its 4-second quickness is actually very helpful, and it is actually triggered a lot when you when you have the amount of damage and the amount of attacks that you do. So it's really helpful at certain points. And finally, your tactics at 10, I took Empower because you're going to have a lot of boons on you. So for every boon that's on you, you also do a lot more damage. And also you can go 10 Discipline as many warriors do, and you can pick up either your Signet Mastery or you can pick up Heightened Focus. But personally, depending on the amount of damage that you will have, it's not really so great to pick up Heightened Focus or Signet Mastery because we're not really trying to survive here. We're trying to dish out as much damage and kill everything, so we don't really need to worry about surviving. Alright, now that I covered traits, I'm going to cover your skills. As far as your primary skills go, you will primarily use a great sword, and obviously your first great sword attack hits for damage, and the others actually continue to stack vulnerability. Then you have 100 Blades, which is actually the meat and potatoes of this entire build, you could say. It's also the skill that does the most damage that a warrior has access to. So let me show you here. You can also, as I use Healing Surge to charge up my adrenaline, it also gives me more and more strength. You don't really need to use Arching Slice because Arching Slice isn't really necessary and it doesn't really do that great of a damage. and plus you need all your adrenaline at max level for your trait. This trait right here, Berserker's Power to trigger. So let me show you how many trades. See, that's such a great deal of damage and it's really fast, and you see quickness and might proc every time I crit it as well, so that's very helpful. Second, your whirlwind attack is similar to the Mesmer's illusion that the Great Sword summons. You basically do a spinning attack through your enemies. It's also a great way to evade certain attacks in KOF, so it's actually really helpful to have. And your fourth skill is Blade Trail. So your warrior basically tosses your sword uh, when an enemy selected. I didn't select an enemy right there. So when you select an enemy, your warrior basically tosses his sword at it, and it hits the enemy and comes back to you. And it's almost like a boomerang. It'll hit the enemy and it'll come back to you. Finally, you have your 5 skill, which is which is rush, and basically with this skill you can just literally, as the name suggests, you can rush to your target, and it'll do like an upper hit with your sword, and it'll also dish out a great deal of damage. This is also a great skill for you to use to run around in KOF. So like, since we want to get this done as fast as possible, you can use this skill to just run and speed up your running through the dungeon. These two skills are very helpful for running. And finally, let's go to your utility skills. I chose to go with Healing Surge because A, you can charge up your adrenaline pretty easily, as you just saw me do a few minutes ago. And also, depending on how much adrenaline you have, you get more of a heal out of it. So it's a great thing to have for healing. Every warrior in KOF needs to carry for great justice. This is a great way to stack up might and fury on yourself and everyone around you. It's a shout, so everyone is actually affected by it. The same thing for your next skill, which is Banner, which I have as Banner of Discipline. But depending on the position you have, you'll be asked to either do Banner of Discipline or Banner of Strength, or well, War Banner, but these are the two banners and utility skills that you need for now: Strength and Discipline. Some parties actually go for Defense, but it's not really necessary. But you can have it if you want. And finally, this skill is optional. Most of the warriors use either Shake It Off or Endure Pain. Personally, I prefer the Banner warriors to have Shake It Off as opposed to Endure Pain, because they can actually provide far more help to the party with this skill as opposed to Endure Pain. But if you're doing Door, which they explain in later videos, you can actually replace your banner with Frenzy at the Door location. So you can use Frenzy and Endure Pain at the same time and hit the door real fast and try to break it as fast as possible. But for the most part, until you get to that specific part, if you're running a door, or if you're not running, or if you're running War Banner, you need to have on my mark in your bar. So 2 warriors you could carry on my mark. 2 warriors, all the warriors should carry Shake It Off. Where did that skill go? Shake It Off, and for Great Justice, 3 shouts that are basically all the warriors need. If you're doing one of the banners, then you would actually be using Signet of Rage in your bar, or you can use War Banner or Battle Standard if you want, but Signet of Rage actually allows for stacking of Fury and Might and Swiftness, and all of which are actually very essential and very helpful. Especially as a door, you definitely need to do Signet of Rage to increase your damage and dish out outgoing damage, although objects don't really crit, so you would need to, like, you would just actually have to just stack up your might to increase your power. Because as you can see, you get 46 power and 46 condition damage from might stacking. Same here. But if you continue to stack it on top of yourself, you'll just have an increased amount of damage, but you won't be able to crit. So, but it's not really that big a deal if you just have a lot of damage. Uh, and since I talked about battle or Signet of Rage, let's talk about battle standard. One of the warriors will carry battle standard, and this skill is put by the two bosses. So whenever you get to the two bosses, you drop this skill, and War Banner is actually really cool. It gives you 3 seconds of stability, and it also continues to stack might and fury the longer it's around you. And if there's anybody that's down, the War Banner can also revive them instantly. So it's a very good skill to have on one of the warriors or two of the warriors if need be. Also, to reiterate the fact that I was going to point out, my armor has all these stats, and since my effective level is only level 11 here, my real power is actually 2345, my attack is 3445, and my critical chance is 55%, while my critical damage is 63%. And all of that added together, you can do a great deal of damage with 100 blades and so on and so forth, which is actually why the warriors are essentially the only real class that would be used for Koth farm. Some Koth teams would use one thief, but that's about it. Like, even with the thief, there is still a very reduced and very limited amount of damage that one can do, but a thief can only be the door, because you certainly need those three skills, War Banner and Signet of Rage. Alright, and last but not least, let's show you guys. Again, in this instance, you would also need Omnom bars and Potent Flame Legion Slaying Potions, and of course your Ash Legion kits. You can buy these in TP or you get them from the dungeon. Same thing here. As far as spy kits are concerned, I showed you in the first video I did, but let's show you again. Go to Kira Sharp Tracker, who is south of your Gates waypoint or north of Guard Point Decimus waypoint, and simply travel this way or this way, obviously, and you should be able to get some spy kits. Alright guys, that should cover everything that you need to know about Koth Pack 1 farm as a warrior. And hopefully you can get more, hopefully you know more about how the warriors work in Koth, and you can definitely get some farms going of your own. In later videos I'm going to show you exactly what all the warriors do, with explanations on where to stand and what to hit and where to hit and so on and so forth, and how best to use your spy kits and